That's a nice fish, look. Do I touch it? Is it a bobbin? I suppose I've got a couple of gentlemen here that are just modelling some clothes for you. Now, as you... Tip ring,
big
look at that,
tip ring, nice eyes, and these ones as being...
Is that me or the rod?
Well, I didn't want to...
Another fish hooked up. Well, I'd actually been sea fishing and had some leftover bait. I thought, shall I throw it away or not? Well, I do all round fishing. What can be used in the sea can definitely be used in fresh water. This is what I used, and this is what I caught. But listen, I got to thinking about when I came and caught coarse fish on ragworm. I'm here at Watmore. I'm going to try and catch something on the leftover bait. I've got a few peeled cooked prawns there left over, and I've got my big giant ones, and I'm going to peel them and I'm going to scissor them up and see how we go for getting bites on those fish. One bait in close, one out there. I've only got these two bait tubs with a bit of ground bait in. I've got a bit of bread just to try and draw some fish in, and then I think I'll fish probably one of the pink prawns, one of these ones here, the cooked prawns on the inside just down there, because they come in late afternoon, and obviously my starting time is not great. It is, it's always bad, 2:30, nearly 25 to 3. I think most people are packing up. They've been here probably 7, but you never know. Here at Watmore, I've always found late afternoon I can winkle a few fish out. I'm hoping a roach will come along, because they get some decent roach here. You never know, carp, or it could be a bream on the bottom, but it's horrible grey. I've got the brolly up, you know, because you'll never hear anything otherwise. It's just wind in the mic. You can see it's pretty good for fishing, really. It's sort of overcast skies. I'd say it'd be better than being bright blue sky and blazing sunshine, but I'm not a lover of the wind, so I've come right the way around the lake by one of these platforms, and that's purely because the wind's off my back. Gonna fish in the antenna float, but it's got 5 BB on it. I've already got 6 BB and a number 1, and it's just about there, so we'll see how we go. I've got hardly any feed, so it'll be catching or not catching is what it's about. Man alive, these absolutely hustle. They've been thawed out about 3 times. There's the peeled cooked. Well, they were edible, but they're not now. And these big boys, bad boys, definitely aren't edible. So I'm going to peel them and scissor them up. Just chuck a few in down the margins, and I'm figuring maybe the roach is going to be further out. And just look, I can only try it, can't I? I know for a fact I'm going to have terrible trouble getting this all washed off my hands. They're very soft. Not a bad thing though, really. Oh, that's a bit tougher one, that one. I took them out the night before, and it must have been warmer than I thought, and they started cooking, which is why they're going pink. In fact, I might as well get all the heads off of these. I think they probably have a nice bit of oil in them. It wouldn't surprise me if they float. You get, oh no, they're sinking, sink straight down. I reckon the seagulls would know what these are. Right. And what they might do is just firm up a little bit. In the air, if that makes sense. The actual meat, surprisingly enough, when you cut through it, is quite firm still. It's normally a good bait for smooth hounds and black bream. They love these. And there you can see, in contrast, these are peeled and cooked prawns. The other ones are the uncooked variety. I'll put one of these, or half of one of these, down in the margins. These have been dried out by being frozen, so they're much tougher. So a little bit of ground bait. I did drop a ball down close, nothing's coming on that. Not too far out, because there's a drop off just out there. I've got a bit of bread soaking as well, and just a few of these following up. Got about a size 14 hook, quite a wide gape, and I'm just going to roll it around like that. Yeah, the black-headed gulls, they've already found the bits of shell and stuff like that. I imagine they can smell it. I wonder if the fish can smell it as well. So let's just get out there. You should know in very short order if I'm going to get any bites. Now that's bizarre. I got that float shotted in here, now it's sunk. I knew there were too many shot on it. I'm just bringing this in, guys. Just check this out. I don't know what it is. I thought at first it was a crayfish. Does anybody know what that is? And that was out there in the lake. Do I touch it? Is it a bobbin? It's metal and it's just hooked like that. It's like some sort of insulator. Answers on a postcard, and at least I haven't blanked. On the white ones here, which have dried out quite a bit, I don't get many bites, little taps or anything like that. But on these, the fresher ones, I'm definitely getting a few taps and tweaks on it. Well, not a fish on the wild Atlantic prawns, and I'm guessing it's a roach. Yeah, there we go. Well, that's a nice fish, look. It just goes to show you that saving that bit of bait has got me a fish that I didn't catch on the beach. Brilliant. What I did have to do is just keep cutting down and down and down till I got to about that size there. I throw one pellet of feed in, and then one of these just lightly hooked. I've just got to cover the hook like that. So what I do is a little pellet like this. Now that'll leave like a bullseye, so that's like a target for me to aim at. I aim for the centre of that, pull the float back into it, and I should hopefully pick up another fish. If I keep doing this, sooner or later, oh, I missed one, you see. I'll put it out there again, but generally you get that bite in the first 30 seconds. As you can see, a prawn, the actual peeled prawn, is pretty good for staying on the hook. And I think when you look at the size of them, there's probably a lot more juice in those. Follow up and try and get in the centre of it, about there. And I'm figuring the roach must be bashing it on the way down, grabbing at it. There's a bite there, just lifted the float up. Well, I'm starting to get some roach bites. I've altered my float. I've gone a little bit deeper. It's only a small fish. I can swing that one in. I say small. He probably looks about the same size as the other one. And I've brought the base shot down here. I think it's a number 1 or number 4 down closer to the hook to take it down a little bit deeper. So I figured the small fish are near the surface and the bigger ones like that are a little bit deeper. Let's try again. So just one pellet out there like that, and then while that circle is still on the surface, it gives me like a bullseye to aim at there. And I should get a bite fairly quickly, and it looks like it's raining. Oh, happy days. There's a bite. They might even like it cut smaller, that prawn, I think. Well, it is getting a line on these roach, and it does seem to be. It does seem to be that the peeled, I'm going to call it uncooked prawns, are the better ones. Well, I just lost a really good fish on prawn just down here close, guys, and well, that's how close I was. There's a scale on the hook, so that is definitely off a carp. So there's a decent sized carp that came in there. Well, here's a nice roach, boys. Look at that one. That is a good fish. Just sections of prawn, and that was ledger. There was a link ledger on that one. Right, well this time we've definitely not got a roach on. Is this going to save the session? This was on the float. I kept changing depths, put the prawn deep, shallow. I'd say this is quite a decent sized fish. He's way out there. And this is a match rod I'm in here. So guys know, £5 line straight through. I'm not going to fish light. And I've had a couple of bangs on the inside one as well. Oh, I think it's, oh, he's come off. Oh no. Oh, let's see if I've got a scale on that. No, it just pinged off. That's the way it was. That was a good carp, that one. Right, back to the prawns. Well, on again, guys. Float again. How long this one's going to stay on for? I don't know. Certainly not as big as the last fish. Or is he? The thing is with a match rod, you can't really put a lot of pressure on them. Well, he's getting close now. I still haven't seen him. He's just holding that rod down. Maybe he is bigger than I thought he was. The thing is, you can never really tell when you hook a fish out at a bit of distance. You can't really tell till you get him in. He's coming in close down here now. That's a mirror carp, and I would say got a nice tail to him. I would say that's my biggest fish on one of those prawns, not on the regular small prawns, but on those big fresh ones. I say it's definitely the biggest. Hopefully get one quick picture. Bonus fish on bonus bait. I love it, me. Just let me recover there a second. And out he comes. Brilliant. I had some really good roach fishing, but I had to keep snipping and snipping and snipping, getting smaller and smaller all the time. So it just goes to show you, you don't know what you catch on prawns. Wow, success. I've got another fish hooked up, guys. I'm going to come back here, but under the umbrella. So I've got another fish hooked up here. I'll probably call it quits after this. If I get him in, I've got to get him in first. God, he's certainly pulling there. He's a string puller. Right, I'm going to click this off. I'm low on battery till I actually get the fish. I had one big fish come up. Yeah, he's not a huge one, about the same size as the other one. I had one nice fish come up on the inside rod, but other than that it's been the float. I'm getting low on battery, so I'm going to click this off, and if I do get it in, I'll show it to you then. So this is a common carp, this one. You see all the scales up and down it. For all those sea fishermen who wonder what it is, they all know what a carp are, I'm sure. And that just goes to show you the fact that using a bit of leftover bait doesn't just work in the sea, it can work in fresh water as well. Look at the width across the back of this one. Wouldn't I have liked to catch a mullet, a smooth hound, or something else this size? That's the way it is, and that's why I do the all-round fishing. A lovely chunk. Let's get it back. Well, it is actually kind of strange when you think I had absolutely fabulous weather, didn't I, down at in the Somerset beaches and stuff, and the fishing was really tough. I mean, it was really beautiful weather. No fish, as we call it. I did catch something, thank God. But a long way to go just for that. And yet here, I've come back up with the same bait. If that makes sense, does it? I've had a load of roach, some I didn't film, 2 nice carp, on the same bait that I wasn't catching in the sea. It's just beyond belief. But that's why I do all-round fishing. Bit of everything that can chop and change and generally salvage something. And the weather's grim as well. You know, it's absolutely the reverse of what I had in Somerset. But thank goodness I ended up catching something on that bait, save wasting it. Guys, we'll see you in the next issue. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button. TAFishing, TA Outdoors. And hopefully we get some fish next time off the beach. A little bit easier. Can hang on for 5 minutes just in case. Well, nice bit of action there, definitely pretty good fishing. But I have to go and mention it again because I've also mentioned previously about the quality of the rivers. It's all sort of the rage of the topic at the moment, I know that. I was doing it several years ago with my films, mentioning how I'd noticed the quality and the gravel on some of the rivers getting covered in algae. And I thought, do you know what? The canal I used to fish 60 years ago sort of looks good, but I don't think it is. I think, is that not well either? I don't know. Come with me, having a nice, pleasant, relaxing walk down my local canal. No fishing rod, but might be interesting for you. So folks, this is a walk along the towpath, but look here, this is a gripe I've got. You can see the towpath on the right, a little bit of green shrubs on there, but look at all the rush there that is growing up on the marginal edges there. Now, when I was a youngster, I fished here all the time as a kid. I mean, I know I'm banging on about 60, 65 years ago, but there were no rushes. And now, of course, people say, oh, you can't take the rushes out because it's all rewilding or whatever. Hang on, those rushes should never be there. It is a horse-drawn canal towpath. So a horse would be drawing a barge along there. That's what the towpath is there for. And the rope to the barge, you know, from the horse to the barge, it will be all clear along the edge. And there's a little spot where the doggies jump in, and unfortunately, the dogs don't clear it when they jump in. They dig all the gravel and break the bank down as they claw their way out. So I thought, it's a beautiful day. I'm going to have a walk along and see what I can spot with my polarising glasses. And indeed, where I am is the very upper end, as it were, of the canal. So I take my trusty underwater camera. I'm not sure whether it's totally underwater, we'll find out. Oh, it appears it is. Makes lots of gloopy noises, but hey-ho, there's one fish in the distance I just spotted. There is nothing like the head of fish in here as there was all those years ago. And of course, most waters, you know, haven't got that. But I was pleasantly surprised to see all these fish here in a minute. You'll see them coming along. But what bothers me is this green algae on the bottom. Again, we never had it years ago. A lot of this river, speak English, Graham, a lot of this canal had lilies in it, believe it or not. You know, it really was. I wish to God I'd photographed more, you know, when I was in the early days and 15 and 20-year-old. But having said that, are these fish coming back? Now, you can see in the clear water what looks like a shoal of roach or rudd, a mixture of both. I don't know whether the two run together, probably rudd. And a place you do want to look is under bridges. This is a bridge that actually raises and lifts up, but of course there's going to be supports and stanchions around the edges, and that's where you would find, yes, Mr. Perch. Mr. Perch is not in this stretch in the numbers that it was when I was a kid, but there are plenty of places along here where you could, if you wanted, throw a weed drag out, clear yourself a little swim and bait up. That would undoubtedly bring in all these fish, and there's a fair old number of fish in this shoal, I think you'll agree. Probably be fishing those with something, a very fine float like a Billy Making Canal Grey, 2 pound line all the way through to an 18, maybe a 16, double red maggots, fishing 3/4 depth, shot just bulked under the float, and one small dust shot just to take it down through the shoal, and loose feeding maggots over the top. That would be my take on these fish. Of course, if I threw some bait in there, they would all probably disappear. Great to see, there's a lot of fish there, people, but only in the one spot. I'll show you why in a minute, or I feel why. I was looking there for pike, but you'd think with all this bait fish about there would be pike. And look here, most of those fish are sort of basically around where the shaded areas are. So I mention this purely from the fact, if there are bushes and overhangs, they are still features, even if they aren't in the water. They are going to find, the fish are going to find a piece of cover somewhere in the shade, especially with somewhere that's got clarity like this. And there you can see the bottom, even further upstream, as a crowd of people just come from a viewing area. It's very, very, very clear the further upstream I go, subject to whether any boats have been up there, the big canal boats. But to me it looks like, is that a chalk based to the canal? I was kind of surprised. I thought I'd see more clay there, but hey ho, am I going to see a huge fish going along here in a minute? It looks extremely fishy to me, but I'm just bothered about all that. See that sort of blanket weed? I've got tons of it in my pond. And why is that weed not green on the edge there? Somebody tell me. And why are there no perch there? And what the hell is this pike? Look at the size of that pike. It's 8 feet long. Is it a pike or is it? Oh, actually, I think it's not a fish. It's a man on a paddleboard. So I'm moving further upstream, and here you will see what they call a turning circle. This is what the canal barges years ago used to get to the end, to turn around and come back the other way. Obviously, the commercial holiday maker type barge does this as well, but that turning circle was built specifically for working barges. And you can see some stakes down there at the front where obviously the people that look after the preservation of the canal have had to put stakes in there to stop the banks, one assumes, crumbling away. Now looking back up there, you can see how the canal should be. This river is normally gin clear, plush green weed there, clear gravel, and the river would go about another 5 feet to the right. Again, it's got the encroachment of rushes there. When I was a kid, there was none of that grey sludgy stuff there, which is just silt in suspension. So let's take a look underneath. Oh my God, there used to be trout under there. That's why I put the camera there. It's the flow. The river, which is a chalk stream, actually goes underneath the canal. But all that is there is nothingness for some particular reason. Odd bits of weed there, but we used to fish there for trout, can you believe? It's hard to believe. And what are all these particles coming down? That's not poo, it's not, is it? Somebody tell me, who's got the strongest nose there that can smell that? I'm imagining it's just particulates from algal blooms that's coming off, because it looks like that. But listen, with the British waterways, you never know what's coming down. I'm only mentioning this because this chalk stream runs underneath the canal, and it's nothing like it used to be. You can see there where a dog's been getting out, and you can see it's cleared the gravel there. It's peaceful enough. Not too many people about today, so it's good, and less dogs, less kids throwing sticks in. But the thing is with the canal, although that looks really good, and it does look good quality, you can see all that sort of algal type weed there, which is not the bright green weed that we used to get when I was a kid, but I'm talking 65 years ago. Now, further downstream, we used to get the two main species would be perch definitely. Of course I get the odd perch in it. A lot of perch and a lot of tench. I've been all up and down here, haven't seen a tench. I rarely hear a tench caught here now. Few bream further downstream. Very, very old pike knocking around, but nothing like the volume of fish we used to have years ago. But it's still good to see the clarity of the water, but that algal bloom and the covering of the stones is not what we had years ago. So it's obviously got some sort of nutrient, I'm going to call it enrichment, going in there somewhere. And of course it's clear because the boats aren't working. Two things: the boats cut the channel deep so it's good access, keeps the weed down a bit, but it also colours it up. So when it's clear like this, you do actually get a lot of weed growth. While walking along the canal, I find, oh, King John's Castle as we knew it has now been called Odium Castle. But I'm sorry, I don't believe Mr. Odium, Frederick J. Odium, built this. I believe it was King John's Castle. I think it was, if I'm correct, a hunting lodge of the time. But it's obviously decayed over a large period of time, even over my lifetime. And there's loads and loads of flint in there. Of the actual building, it's built with flint. You'll see it there, and you can see the flint, look. And now they've put chunks of it, it's all in the fields everywhere there. They put this canopy in there, and I can see why, because this is the crumbling castle of King John's Castle, I believe. His hunting lodge is having no more hunting, but there are some large pieces of, not brickwork, stonework that come down and can bonk you onto the head, which is why that canopy is there. Now, moving along on the interior of this des res, you can see what would appear to be great big 10 or 12 inch square sections cut back in there. I'm wondering, are those the floorboards or the rafters going across to there? Because they line up with the height of the arch with the grill on the right. And that's the sort of first floor. And then moving up upstairs, was that a fireplace, that area? There's the windows. Look at the squares cut out there. I think that might be the roof rafters and, you know, the first floor, where I assume if it's a hunting lodge, is, you know, where it should be, first floor and ground floor. Now, a section of fold. Fold is something you drive your car through years ago. This, when I was younger, was all gravel stones. It's now, due to lack of water flow, I would suggest, full of sediment. The only clear area of gravel here is right where the very last of the flow is coming through there. And you can see it keeps it clear. But it tapers off, doesn't it? If you look at the top of the picture, it tapers off. Let's check underneath. There's that brownness, that weed that's brown there on the stonework. Up ahead are millions and millions of highly oxygenated bubbles coming through. Again, I have caught trout there, dropping in there. I don't know if I was supposed to, I'm talking 60 years ago. Brown trout, wild brown trout, as kids. All the bubbles come from a grill there. See the grill? If I go under, it's a weed catching grill, so they have to clear the weed off it, but look at the bubbles it makes, because it breaks up the water surface there and the flow. I'm wondering, could they not do that in sections, not an entire section of river, but maybe a central section, so if there was a flood and big trees and branches came down, if it was built on a triangle pointing into the head of the current, the trees and that would go down past the grill, and the grill would create more oxygen. Would more oxygen be better for the fish? Well, it is, Graham. But there you are, I just mentioned this, just in passing, how things have changed. Well, a boatload of the public, possibly with some alcohol as well. That's me done. That's my quiet episode done. So it gives you an idea how the canals are. Maybe they're picking up, you know. It's just nice to see some fish in clear water for a change. So, back to the TAFishing base, and we'll see what else we can cook up for you guys. What a day. Whew, mama, I should be fishing today. So canals, what do they get in them? I mean, you think they can only get agricultural runoff? I don't know. All I know is there's no tench in there like I knew 50, 60 years ago. Hey ho, where is? Anyway, I met a couple of interesting people while I was down at Leamington. They were doing a bit of modelling. So I'm down here at the Leamington Yacht Haven. Been out on a boat, really fast boat. I've got a couple of gentlemen here that are just modelling some clothes for you. Now, as you can see, they've got very nice trousers here, and they've got the latest in the zip-up jackets, as you can see, and they've got those sort of muffs that they put over the face for, you know, when you're out in the sun and the wind. So guys, tell us, where can we buy these? Now these white face masks, where can we buy those, guys? Oh, come on, don't look blank. They've got all white. Yes, those are the only two friends. I've got no friends at all. It's only those two men with those buffs over their face. All the rage, those buffs, aren't they? Full face buffs, those were. Anyway, previously on Totally Awesome Fishing Show, I mentioned about a black pheasant. A black pheasant, that's so rare, isn't it? It's unbelievable. I personally have never seen one in my entire life. Now, like the number 49 bus, along comes. And there, look, there is Mr. Black Pheasant. I have never seen one in my life prior to the last filming episode. But wait, there's not one. There's two, with a miniature Saxon house, built by my own fair hand with my son Michael of TA Outdoors. It is still standing with the thatch and the clay there. Brilliant. The old English method of doing that definitely works. But I want to know, why are there two black pheasants in my garden? I mean, I get so many different wildlife stuff go through this garden. It's a wonder David Attenborough's not down here doing the blue planet thing. Or in this case, the green planet with the black pheasant. It's nice to see, but I'm curious of where have they come from? I've never seen them ever before. Wow, can anybody really shoot those pheasants? I don't know. Perhaps they're escapees? Are they breeding? How come I get to see two? I don't know that. Anyway, I popped over to Grant's for some bait and he showed me what I thought was some quite good, reasonable beach fishing rigs for beginners. You could buy the whole package. All you need after that is some bait.
Hi Graham. Yeah, just some little bits we're doing this summer for like beginner anglers when you're going out with a family on a holiday and you want to sneak off on the beach and a bit of fishing. We just do like a 2-rod beach setup, ready spooled with line, a couple of rigs, a couple of leads.
What length's the rod?
Sorry?
What length would that be?
So these are just a 12-foot 3-piece, easy casting, because once you go a bit longer than that, I find for beginner anglers, a bit harder to cast.
And fixed spools all the way?
Fixed spools all the way, rather than having a tangle on your multiply. We always do some of this, which is very popular, 10-foot 2-piece mackerel rod. So
nice big reel, easy to use. Nice big reel.
You've got a 20-pound line on there, it's quite heavy, but you know, let's take the casting, you know, up to 3-4 ounces, maybe a bit heavier, and you just with a mackerel feathers, perfect holiday setup really. So
so people know, because I get asked sometimes what tackle and rigs and I've got no idea. This is a 3-piece 12-foot rod.
Yeah.
Comes with a reel.
Yeah, it comes with a reel, 4 to 6 ounce casting weight plus
that's what you want, isn't it? Yeah.
So it's enough for the local area really, and with, you know, people fish around Hayling and all sorts of places locally to us around here.
And you're going to do a packet with everything in there so that it just come in.
So that is literally pick the whole thing up.
Tripod.
Rod, reels, tripod, leads, 2 rigs, takeaway fishing, off you go.
And these rigs are interesting, you know what...
so yeah, there's a 1-hook clipped rig for...
You do 3-hook ones, like what we call flappers, scratching rigs and stuff.
Scratching rigs, mackerel feathers obviously the most popular one. But yeah, we just do a mixture of different things in here. So, but yeah, the rigs, the reels, I think it's a nice little combo setup to get you started on your sea fishing, and the sea stands make a huge difference to when you're stood on the beach. Right, so don't forget when you're using like a 20-pound line on the beach, you might actually want to use something like one of these, a tapered shock leader. So it goes from 18 pounds down to 70 pounds, and you get 5 on a rig, and they're 13 metres long. And now the 18-pound goes to your reel line, and the 70 is the thickest to take the shock of the cast with a decent lead. That's it, so you won't get a crack off then hopefully on the beach. So shock leader is a must probably when you're on the beach. What knot for that? What would you say for that, Grant? What type of knot for that? So you could use a back-to-back grinner knot, so double grinner knot together, probably the easiest for someone to learn to tie. I still like an Albright knot, and I like to dab it over with a bit of glue just to smooth it off. But yeah, your knots will be fairly chunky, but if you look, you've got big tip ring, big tip ring, nice eyes, and these ones as being. Is that me or the rod? Well, didn't want to say, Graham. So, but no, lovely little setup. But yeah, shock leader a must for chucking out bigger weights.
People, thanks for watching this little mishmash put together of Totally Awesome Fishing Show. You know I put anything and everything up. The next one hopefully will be a fishing one. Got sharp teeth, these barracuda, haven't they?